interceptions, 70-plus yards.
Yeah,
Terry is that
Oh,
dude,
actually, I'm
man.
cutting you off this time.
Another wild game. And so for us, come down and get one on the road, that's a big deal. And going in to have the time of possession, that's when we play at our best, because now third downs are more manageable. And I thought emphasizing that, coming out of our bye on both sides of the ball or third down, that was going to be big. We knew we could find ways to improve upon that, and that was going to be big. I thought, finishing the plus in the turnover margin, that's, you've heard me talk about that. But in a game of missed opportunities, penalties and missed plays, those can get frustrating, and lots to clean up onto those, and we will. But that's a little bit like December and January football, where it does get hard. And so to go all the way down to the end, to the last play, you've heard me talk about the fight of the group, and that's one of the things I really admire about our team. We've been in a lot of close games, and so we're getting battle-hardened. It's not always, comfortable to be in those spots, but being on the sideline right there at the end to go for it, that's why we do it. And so to come up with a win here on the road, that's a big deal, and take our next step.
You talked a lot about winning time.
Yes.
Moments. How do you feel the team handled those?
Good and bad in some ones, honestly, Nikki, because it can even be some spaces where, like, I love, the fourth down to convert. I thought that was a winning time moment. Obviously, missing a kick, to go up 2 scores, those are winning time moments. We thought maybe we'd get a chance at the end of the half to get going on stuff. It didn't work. Those are ones that I always want to take a shot at. You're playing indoors. Can you, take a shot at a long field goal if those come up? So I would say, on the spectrum of that today, Nikki, I'd say it was solid, but not to a level that we need to be.
And how difficult was the decision to kick the field goal around the 36? There's a lot going on there.
It was. We thought for us it was within the space to to kick, and so you make those decisions early enough to say, hey, if we're at the 38 and inside, we'll kick it. And so that's where it was. So it wasn't a hard decision to go. You don't like the result of it, but it had plenty of stuff to go. So, like going into it, that's why we ran it, on the third down play, which I thought was a good call, where we got into space to give ourselves a chance to go up. So to miss it, that's the consequence of a long one. But I didn't think of punting into that. Had we not gained yards on the run, then we would have been in punt. So that was, we're clear about it. Hey, if we're at this part, we'll punt. If we're at this part, we'll go. And so that's the way I communicate with the coaches.
They had much better results when they put Spencer Rattler in the second half. It can be tough on a defense sometimes when there's an adjustment. What did you feel like was the big difference, and what did you think of his performance?
Yeah, he certainly played well and hit some plays, that you saw that from him coming out, honestly, where he made big plays from his college days. I know it didn't quite go as well as they wanted when he, had some starts when Carr had been injured earlier. You never know. Sometimes when you come in, you got nothing to lose and you let it rip. I'm not suggesting that. I'm just saying sometimes going into it with all the preps and all the stuff, and then sometimes you go in and you just let it rip. We've all seen that happen before, and I'm not suggesting that could be the case. We're here, you let go of any of the stress of these are the first 15, do this, and then all of a sudden, hey man, just let it rip and see where it goes. And so I thought he hit some big plays. I thought it was a fantastic trick play, the one from Cedric Wilson back across to Kamara. I know Cedric Wilson. I know he's got a good arm. He was a quarterback early on going to Boise. And when Kamara caught it, I thought he's got fantastic hands. I thought, yep, both feet are going to be in.
Did you get a sense of what this game meant to Jaden just coming back to it?
He obviously a lot of success here for him personally, and so to see some of the people that made a big impact on his life, obviously that makes a big one. But no, he did a good job. Hey, this is the next one, how we go play, and so he's pretty remarkable in that way as a mature young player, where he doesn't ride the roller coaster too much, and that's not easy to do, especially with somebody that gets as much attention as he does. And so he defers it, he goes to the next, and he can really stay in it. So there'll be some plays they'll want back in the game, but to come down and get a win, that's number one. And that was good for Marshawn too, honestly, for his first game as a Commander. Just unusual to go against your former team in game one. So we're pumped to have him here too. And I think for him, getting his chance to express himself as a player here and part of our group, I think that's a big deal.
Dan, did you get an explanation why the clock stop with 9 seconds?
I don't, and I am absolutely taking the high road right now, Dave, about that. I saw a quick video of that, and so I will wait from the response from New York, but those 3 seconds are critical, man. Let's just say that, and we're on to Philadelphia. I don't know how to answer other than I saw that the replay in the game. I was frustrated why, and so. But in the moment, you don't get to ask, and you don't get usually the feedback when it's that type of intensity. But hey, I do have to give New Orleans their credit on this. A lot of times when there's that many plays offensively for us in the first half, we've seen games where it just goes quick the other way. And so to show the kind of fight that they had, I told that to Joe Woods, the defensive coordinator. I said, Joe, you guys really fought. When you have a time of possession that's, I don't know, almost 40 minutes and you're in the game to go at the end, like that doesn't usually go your way. And so I wanted to, give Joe his due there for his team really battled for it.
You called timeout before the 2-point conversion once they were running for it. What was said, and did they kind of do what you expected?
Sometimes you want to just see what formation they're in or go to the second play. Sometimes you have one this is my play, and then if you have that timeout, you want to be able to say, not so fast. And, we've seen this formation, you better want to go to something else. Down in the red zone on a 2-point play, you don't have the distance, behind the ball anymore, so laterally is not uncommon, of a 2-point play. And so, that's, pretty typical for plays. And so we weren't surprised by the play. It was just, honestly, just make them go through the process again.
Dan, on the sacks, how was getting that sack up on
Yes.
transpiring?
I thought they did a good job with stunts, Ben, but I really do want to watch it because there's some times we got to deliver the ball, when you see it. So just to say, hey, these 8 sacks are all on the O-line, that would be unfair. And so that's what we'll dig in to go. But that's a lot for us. And sometimes when you pause and now you get out of whack, you don't want that. And so as we're going through moments like that, there's still learning chances for Jaden on the stuff. And that might be, missed deep ball, him and Terry, like we've seen that connection like so many times. So for us to miss those can be frustrating. But, that is a lot for us. But certainly not, all on one person, one group. But when you get those coupled with a lot of penalties, you really put yourself in a bad spot. And so we actually overcame some of those, Ben, but that's not a winning formula.
How jarring is it for an offense to lose at starting 7 in the morning of the game? And then I guess, what was your impression of Michael Dietrich today?
Yeah, it's never comfortable. That's part of it. He had a big fever and was sick, and certainly tried to go, but as a big guy and fever, and man, that's just hard, to get going. So we're fortunate with Michael, the experience, and going to that. Like anything, the hardest part is not getting all the looks and all the calls to go through it. So, but by and large, he's somebody that the team, we can count on, to play winning football if called upon. We got a big crew. We've done it at a number of spots. You hate to do it the day of the game, but honestly, it's not a lot different when a guy goes down with an injury, and for us, Zach, being injured early. Okay, now John and Ben, and what does that look like? So it's part of our game, but that's only the way that I can look at it, to go, because knowing that he was sick this morning, we took him out to say, let's go take a look, but he just looked like, hell. So those are the ones he wanted to go, and we made the call for him because he definitely wanted to. And he said, man, this is bad.
Even
3 more.
Even before the injuries started to pile up in the game, you guys were rotating pretty heavily, especially on defense.
Yep.
Kind of what went into the thinking there?
We really want to play fast, and so we thought if we keep attacking and keep playing, that relentless energy and nature will take over. As you get further along in the season, sometimes you don't get the chance to do that, but still, while you're building, you want to give guys chances and show they can improve. And that was like a guy like Baptiste and Holmes to more, and now you get into a rhythm to say, if called upon, they're ready. So I think it's an important piece, as we're moving down into December and January football, that more playing time, more experience to go, and now your crew kind of just rises. And sometimes it goes the other way, where the performance doesn't go as well, and you make adjustments and changes. And we wanted to give other guys, opportunities and chances. A guy like Carl Davis, you know, and so when you see those moments go, that's the reason behind it. Say, okay, as you're really going to be a competitive program, you got to live it. And give people opportunities to go do their thing, and then if they do, more, and if they don't, less. But that's fair, and that's what competing is all about.
And two more. You talk about finishing in games all the time.
Yep.
Do you lay that concept over the season as well and say, you know, finish their winning moments toward the end of the season, and we've got to prove that we've built a program here like we're wanting to? Or is that a stretch?
Not too much. We really dug in to say, externally, people are talking down the road, could we get better going into New Orleans? It was going to be our next step, and there's going to be plenty to clean up. But I do know that those moments, these guys have been, you know, into some close battles, and it matters, because when you come out on top on the other end of those, there's some confidence gain, there's some, you know, a mental toughness that goes with that. And as a coach early, you would love it to be all the time in training camp and in early parts of the season, you're almost wanting it to happen. But I'm good with it now. We've got plenty, so I would say I'm comfortable with that.
That first touchdown was kind of quintessential Jaden Daniels. Just what does it mean to have a player who can
Yeah, well, those here in Louisiana certainly have seen that a lot. But the ability for him to remain a dual threat, we've been talking about him keeping his eyes down the field to remain a passer. That's when, you know, any quarterback's at his best, you know, because now they're going to come up on the line to try to get him. You throw it over the head, and so all those are good. And he's just a remarkable competitor.
All right, thanks, Coach.
All right, thank you, everybody. Safe trip home.